let's see what the PM has to say.
So let's be absolutely clear. Canada currently has the best trade deal with the United States. And while it's different from what we had before, it is still better than that of any other country. So as we work to address outstanding trade issues with the United States, it's important, it's vital. We do everything we can to preserve this unique advantage for Canadian workers, Canadian businesses. And doing so will require both building on a soon-to-be revised CUSMA, our free trade agreement with the U.S. and Mexico, as well as developing a new form of trade and security partnership with the United States. In this context, and consistent with Canada's commitment to CUSMA, I'm announcing today that the Canadian government will now match the United States by removing all of Canada's tariffs on U.S. goods specifically covered under CUSMA.
Oh, first of all, why is it anytime anyone says, let me be perfectly clear, they then go on to muddy the waters? Secondly, what happened to elbows up? That sounds like knees down. And you know, by the way, forgive me for going on a tangerine here, but is that not the most stupid phrase ever? I mean, elbows up. That is a penalty in hockey. Did anyone think this through? And I know, Alexa Lavoie, you were a top-ranked ringette player in Quebec back in the day, so you know what I'm talking about. But Alexa, this was his big announcement?
There were no announcement, like saying promises, doing some promises again. Promises that we will probably not see the lights soon. Again, Mark Carney was elected mainly because of the tariff trade and what we are seeing, the tariff war, and what we are seeing is like we still don't have a deal. We're still at the same position. Now we are seeing tariffs that have increased. We are seeing that inflation is getting worse, immigration is getting worse. So for the people who actually voted for elbows up, they should be elbow down at the moment.
Oh, 100%. Melanie, I understand probably the three most affected Canadian industries due to the tariffs are steel, aluminum, and auto manufacturing. I was hoping for some kind of announcement to help these multi-billion industries recover from tariffs. But it looks to me that Mark Carney is fitting the definition. There's a saying out west, all hat, no cattle. What say you?
I don't know, I'm not surprised about that announcement because it seems to me that Mark Carney's been put on the sidelines by Donald Trump and his cabinet. I mean, that's been pretty obvious for a while. So I don't know, maybe this is his way of trying to find some good graces with America and maybe get a better deal with Canada. But I'm no economist in any way, shape, or form, but I thought that tariffs on American products actually harmed Canadian consumers. And if that's the case, and we're removing those tariffs, shouldn't that be helping Canadians? Like, have I got this completely wrong?
No, I don't. No, I think it hurts all consumers. I mean, in a perfect society, I would be a strong free market supporter. I understand Trump's strategy of bringing back business to the U.S., and he's so far brought back, I think, in the neighborhood of $15 trillion. Earlier this month, Apple announced an investment in the U.S. I think it was over $600 million US. So I understand that part. But tariffs at the end of the day are a tax. It hurts consumers. Josh, what do you think? I mean, and I want to concentrate on something here. The Carney apologists, because he's been in office over 100 days. I don't see anything happening. And they'll say, well, how can you give Carney a break? Big bad orange man. He's so irrational. He's so rash. You can't deal with a moving target like that. And I go, well, dozens and dozens of other countries have tariff agreements in place, including Mexico. So why can't we, especially given this was the number one platform Mark Carney ran on?
I will answer that in like 1 second. There's something I wanted to add that really percolated when Carney was speaking there, which I thought was very interesting. Did you catch what he said there? We're going to match the United States and take tariffs on items that are under CUSMA. You heard that. Did I hear that right? Is that what was said?
I believe so.
Okay, he said that. Pete Hoekstra showed up on Jasmine Lane's podcast last week saying what Canada's doing is they are tariffing goods underneath CUSMA. We're not doing that. They're doing that, and that is bad faith. And CBC, CTV, the mainstream media went on a whole tirade saying he is lying. That's not true. That's not happening. He's living in an alternative reality. Mark Carney shows up today and says, we're going to take off tariffs on goods under CUSMA. So who's lying now? Is Carney in an alternative reality? Or is the ambassador to the United States lying on Jasmine Lane's podcast? What is happening? I can't wait to hear CBC and CTV and their panels talk about that today. And getting to your question there, Dave, was the Carney apologists is what's happening right now is our country has been ravaged by Justin Trudeau. That happened. And the reason why people are saying Mark Carney's doing such a good job is because he is doing nothing. Trudeau is doing all the wrong things, and Carney's doing nothing, which in the eyes of the Canadians who have been traumatized by poor government policy is, well, nothing is better than all the things Trudeau is doing. And so I think that's the reality that they're living in. And the people I talk to in Nova Scotia who are left-wing people, that is genuinely how they view it, is like Mark Carney's doing nothing and he's staying out of my way. In terms of the stories I'm seeing. All I'm seeing is Donald Trump, which again, we can talk about the media's influence on that, but that is where they're at. And that's why they think he's doing such a good job is because they're not hearing about him by our media.
Yeah, you know, it's so true. His approval rating has only gone down 2%, and his disapproval rating is only 27%. I don't get it. Josh, I know you have to sign off in 3 minutes. I'm going to bounce one last thing off you before we say adieu. And it's this, and at the risk of sounding like a conspiracy theorist, I really believe Mark Carney is not sincere. I believe Brookfield Asset Management is running Canada. I believe Mark Carney would prefer the U.S. to excel at our expense. Why? Because the lion's share of his assets in his blind trusts are U.S. based. So I don't think he really has skin in the game. I don't think his spirit is all about Fortress Canada. Your thoughts, Josh?
I think there's definitely an element of that. I think what we're really seeing is, well, not, I'd say really, but I think it's in addition to what you just mentioned, is the fact that we're in a minority government. And right now, Mark Carney's been playing that like weird milquetoast policy, not doing a whole lot, but doing enough to like make you feel like he's like conservative / liberal and all this nonsense. And right now what we're seeing is Carney trying to win goodwill of everybody and trying to increase those approval ratings, because word on the street, come wintertime, he's looking to call an election. And he wants to make sure that he has done nothing that's rocks the boat too much so that he can get that majority and then start really pushing the green initiative, start pushing the net zero so that Brookfield can ultimately benefit at the end of the day.
You know, Josh, I wouldn't be surprised. It sure worked for Doug Ford. He allegedly needed a mandate in the middle of winter, even though he had almost 2 years left, and he played the whole tariff card thing, and he got an even bigger majority. So I'm sure Carney is looking to how his friend prospered, and they really do seem buddy-buddy for some reason, but that's another topic. Tease the Carney elbows up clip. Do we have that, guys? All right, let's see what he has to say about his most favorite hockey metaphor.
Pretty much every stop during the election, you referenced elbows up and saying that was going to be the strategy you take with the Americans. You also consistently said that Donald Trump was trying to break us so he could own us. Your new argument today is that Canadians should accept basically the best of a bad deal. What's been the change?
Wait. I reject the premise of that question. Or your characterization of what I'm saying. We have the best deal with the United States right now. Okay? We have the best deal. Look at the numbers. Our tariff is 5.5%. We have 85% of our goods are free trade. It's not what we used to have. Nobody has a deal with the United States that they used to have. Nobody does. They have fundamentally changed. It's their right. We respect it. They have fundamentally changed their trade policy. They have new objectives. And they haven't just talked about those objectives. They put in place tariffs, and they have signed a series of trade deals, including with the European Union, including with others, that have put those into effect, okay? So we're in a position where we have held out, not signed a deal that we don't agree with or that we don't think is in the best interests of Canadians, and focused on, and we will remain focused on those strategic sectors to the best interests of Canada first. Of course, America will focus on the best interests of the U.S. But we do so from a position where we're respecting, with this decision, we're respecting our agreement with the United States, and we are matching what they have done. That puts us in a good position for for the next phase of these negotiations.
Oh, well, like that little green animated figure says at the end of Just for Laughs gags, "Mommy, it's over. The trade war is done. He said we have the best deal." You know what this reminds me of, Alexa? Remember that famous photo op with President Bush, I think on an aircraft carrier, with the sign, "Mission accomplished"? Yeah, we've taken care of all the problems in the Middle East and Afghanistan. That's what I hear when he says we have the best deal. That's quote, end quote, mission accomplished. Are you buying that?
First of all, we don't have the best deal. So look at our condition before and after. Now we are like in the worst position like than before, and to compare to other countries as well. So I don't know what he's saying, and look at how he was like mad at the journalists just for kind of bringing his words together and saying like a question to him, and he get really mad at the premises of the question. And I remember that Stephen Guilbeault always refused the premises of my question. This just means I do not agree with you. It's not because you believe that we have the best deal that is true. Because at the moment, I believe that is wrong. And I believe that now we are in a worse position than before.
And Melanie, to Alexa's point, if we have the best deal, how do you sell that to the industries I mentioned earlier, steel, aluminum, and auto production? I can tell you, I'm working on a story about this. It's an unnamed source at Chrysler in Windsor, a veteran of almost 30 years at the plant. And the rumor there, and it's just rumor right now, is that huge manufacturing facility in Windsor is going to be shuttered. He told me they've already lost production of the next generation Jeep Compass. That's gone. It's going to be produced in the US. And this might be mothballed. For Windsor, this is devastating. Their employment is already 11.2%, the highest it's ever been since these numbers have been tracked. So I guess what I'm saying, Melanie, if you're in those industries, if you're a resident of Windsor and you see Mark Carney say we already have the best deal, are you buying that?
I don't know that it matters. I think for a long time, the Liberal Party have taken the tactic that if you keep repeating a lie, it becomes the truth. And then I'm watching this, and immediately I was thinking of look inside yourself, Rosemary. Look inside yourself, Rosemary. It's time for you to start asking the questions in the way that I want you to ask them, and for you to see it the way that we're seeing it. And if your facts are correct, doesn't matter. I'm gonna correct you with these lies. So I don't think those numbers matter, and I'd like to see more Canadians being a lot more critical about what anybody in the Liberal Party is actually saying. I am seeing a little bit of a glimmer of hope in that sense, because it does seem to me that many of the people who voted for the Liberals, including some of the people in the Liberal media right now, are starting to question what Mark Carney is saying. I'm seeing some people actually starting to criticize what he's saying. So perhaps they also have realized that their elbows maybe needed to be slightly down.
Unbelievable. You said two things. that put a smile on my face, maybe for the wrong reasons, but this whole idea of keep repeating a lie often enough. I seem to remember a very evil propaganda minister of a certain regime, subscribing to that, saying, and that incredible quote, "Look inside yourself, Rosemary." The first time I heard that, Melanie, I was like beside myself. I go, where have I heard this before? Alexa might know where I'm going with this because I did a little video about it. I've heard this line before. I'm going to put you on the spot, Melanie. Can you name me which pop culture figure uttered that line, "Look inside yourself"?
If they're Canadian, probably not.
Oh, definitely not. A very famous Brit, as a matter of fact, Dr. Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs when he was interrogating Agent Starling. Yeah, so, nothing to fear here, Alexa. Mark Carney channeling a Nazi propaganda minister and perhaps the most famous fictional serial killer in pop culture. What say you, my friend?
But we are now laughing and we are saying like, okay, we all realize that something is wrong and that we are not better off with like Carney, but there is still some people at home who are looking at the mainstream media who will listen to Mark Carney and they will say, he's doing a great job. It's true. We have the best deal. And I'm pretty sure if you go in the street and ask the people, if you believe that we have the best deal right now because of Mark Carney, I'm pretty sure there will be a big portion of the population who will believe what he said.
If that's the case, Alexa, I'm sorry. I don't want to be a pessimist. Then our country is lost. It really is. And I just have despair in my heart that his approval ratings, after doing nothing for more than 100 days, has only gone down 2%. I don't know if there's a Canada left to reclaim.